Hey guys, and welcome to this part one in a series of 3 videos I'm going to do for you on how to SEO your WordPress website. I originally did a version of this video about 3.5 years ago, and it was by far my best received video on YouTube. But over the last 3 years, a lot has changed, and increasingly, I've had a lot more requests from viewers of that video to sort of update the content for the latest practices in SEO, and rightly so. I mean, 3 years is a long time in online marketing, let alone SEO, and I feel now is the right time to do this sequence of videos for a number of reasons. So, first of all, the reason I'm splitting it into 3 is really that I feel it's going to be easier for you guys to follow along. That's number one. You'll be able to take each video as it is and work through the processes within each video that I'm going to show you. The processes within those videos are quite different, hence why it's easier just to split it into 3 videos. And also there's a lot more to it now. In the original video I did, I think it was like a 45-minute video, and I went through really how to optimize your WordPress site from the back end, so the software to download, how to optimize posts and pages and media within your website and so on. But what was left out of that, and what wasn't really available at the time in terms of software, was the ability to really delve further into the whole process. So to, for instance, get a baseline for your website, see where it's at, then refine it, and then rescan and figure out whether you've made improvements or not. So that's all going to be included within this sequence of videos for you, which I feel is going to be much more substantial and is going to get you a far more rapid and high impact success rate. Okay, so I'm going to break it down into a simple 4-piece strategy for SEO. Now, one thing to start out with is that this is going to be for base optimization of your website, to really get a foundation to build upon as you move forward with your website. Now, the reason that is really important is that without that foundation, SEO is not going to be really a factor in your website. You've got to have the foundation right. So what we're going to deal with are 4 pieces to the puzzle. The first of which is performance, so the speed and efficiency of your website. We're also going to discuss mobile compatibility, why it's important, in fact, why it's essential now. When I originally did the video 3 years ago, it didn't really factor into anything related to SEO, bar the engagement of your website, the accessibility and people being able to view it and not get annoyed by the fact that your website appeared tiny on a mobile device or something like that. But it didn't really factor into SEO, and now it very much does. I'm also going to discuss the structure and accessibility of your website, and that deals with both search engines, how they access your website and how they trawl it, and the importance of then having a link structure within your website that they can access. A lot of websites are missing that structure and that the different components that feed into that. So I'm going to show you how to set that up, and basically a tick box kind of layout, how to do that within software to make sure that your website is being scanned and scanned in the right way by search engines. And also then how visitors access your website, because engagement of visitors on your website is increasingly important for SEO. And that's why we're also going to deal with some content and engagement strategy and different ways about going about doing that. So the written, the visual, video content, keywords, and the creation of your content is incredibly important. Okay, so what is this training going to achieve for you? Is it going to get you instant rankings? Is it going to bring instant sales into your business or your website? Is it going to give you a fuzzy feeling inside? Unfortunately, it's not going to do any of those things, because with SEO, and I mean, it never really has been anything other than this. It's certainly in the last decade since I've been involved in the industry. But with SEO, it's never a quick fix. It's never instant results. It's like a slow burner, really. You've got to start out, get the foundation right, and then build upon that. So what this training is going to give you is a superb foundation for enhanced long-term organic traffic. It'll save you thousands of dollars over employing a company or a consultant to do it for you. And hopefully it's going to earn you many more dollars in return in terms of lead generation for your business, your blog, because you're going to optimize your website from the ground up in the right way. Okay, so what do you guys need to start once you've got your website in place? These are the things we're going to deal with. We're going to do I'm going to offer some advice in terms of keyword research. So how do you go about researching keywords in terms of your industry and your niche? I'm going to show you the SEO software that's completely free that you can download and install, and then how to basically walk through how to optimize your content using that software. I'm also going to show you some performance scan software, which is free. I'm going to show you how to use that. We're going to delve into that first of all, actually, in a moment, and I'll show you kind of a walkthrough of how to do that. And most importantly, perhaps, I'm going to discuss the really important factors of SEO, because the ability to know what information is important and isn't important is incredibly important in optimizing your website and being able to do that from the ground up. So don't worry, I've got your back through these videos. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to achieve success with online marketing, SEO, based on your WordPress website. Also, just a little caveat before we get stuck in, what isn't covered in the lesson specifically. So the following things aren't going to be covered. I'm not really going to take you through the long-term process of engagement principles. You know, what happens after you create and optimize your content, what happens after you get the baseline for your website and you've optimized your content and you're kind of creating new content and things like that. I'm not going to therefore deal with the long-term continuation of these principles. I'm not going to really discuss traffic generation, you know, for instance, how to get instant traffic to your website to start getting people engaged with your content. That's for another video. You know, I'm going to show you how to run Facebook ads and YouTube ads and Google ads and how to optimize those and how to get instant traffic, how to optimize your user experience of the website so people, when they land on your website, are going to be engaged and entertained and want to stay there and share your content out. Those things aren't going to be covered. It's a basic level foundation in SEO that we're going to do in these videos, because without that, as I may have said earlier, everything else will fall flat. I'm not going to talk about social media strategy or anything like that, because with that, and again, that's more a long-term approach, engagement can boost your SEO as you move forward. But I'm not going to kind of delve into social media strategy or anything like that. And I'm not going to discuss things like server performance necessarily. What I will say at the outset is related to that. You got to make sure that the server that you're on, that you're using to host your website, is a good one. So what I would suggest to you is you either go for something like a VPS, virtual private server, because you'll normally get higher performance, you know, faster load speeds, greater bandwidth, and so on, over, for instance, going with a shared server on a system like GoDaddy or Bluehost or I'm trying to think of the other hosts. We normally use Liquid Web for our website hosting for VPS, which is what our websites are on. What you could do is Liquid Web don't do shared hosting anymore. What they did, I believe, is sold their business over to a company called Deluxe Hosting. So you could maybe go to Deluxe Hosting and check out their packages. They seem to be pretty good. A lot of our packages were moved over from Liquid Web to Deluxe Hosting, and I haven't really seen any issues with the performance. However, if you do just want to make sure that your performance is kind of peak at all times, I would say maybe go for a VPS on Liquid Web. I think you can get one for about $50 a month, but it'll offer a lot higher performance in terms of the server, probably a lot better security in terms of either shared or other non-managed server setups. So maybe go for something like that if you haven't already. But I have no affiliation or anything like that. I'm just giving you some recommendations as to what we use. Maybe in a subsequent video I'll deal with maybe delve into kind of the companies that you should maybe avoid or maybe go with. But that's, I guess, for another day. Okay, so there's my 2 cents worth for now. Okay, so to start, what are the most important factors for SEO? And I think that's one of the things that people get confused with is, first of all, where do you start with it all? And what actually feeds into getting your website decent rankings online. So here's a list of kind of the most important factors. First of all, website performance, like I've just said about server, optimization, making sure the server that your website is on has fast load speeds, because there's kind of two factors that feed into load speed. And first of all, it's the actual website and the coding of the website that's built on WordPress. And secondly, then it's the server. So if you have a dud server that is really slow loading, it doesn't really matter how well refined the code is within your website. It's going to load slowly because of the server. Similarly, if the server is really kind of peak performance and yet the code within your website is sloppy, or there's a bulk of code or technologies that you don't need within the website, then ultimately your website's going to be slow to load. And when Google and the other search engines scan your website, part of what they look for are fast load times. So if your website takes 20 seconds to load the homepage, Google is going to look at that website and think, I don't know if we want to send our usership to that website, because they're going to get annoyed with the fact that the homepage takes so long to load. Similarly, if your website is really zingy and it loads right away, I don't know if zingy is a word, but if it loads really fast, Google and the other search engines are going to see that, and they're going to say, okay, well that's a fast loading website, so any of our users going to that website are certainly going to be satisfied with load times, particularly if they're viewing on mobile or they're using a slower connection or something like that. Next, then you've got to factor in your website content. That's the kind of optimization of your text and your imagery and your videos and so on throughout your website. And the reason that is so important is because the search engines trawl your entire website, and every website out on the web that is trawlable. And they pick up on keywords and language and bulk of content, and they figure out whether it's relevant from the perspective of the keywords used versus what people are actually searching for within their search engine. So that's why content is absolutely key. Also, the engagement of the content is logged within the search engines when they trawl your website. So with Google, what they recognize is the fact that your website is shared out on social media or on other websites. The fact that your website is, or your individual content is commented on. They log all those things. They're able to see the different factors that feed into content engagement. And of course, they want to provide the most relevant results for their users within, for instance, Google, so that when somebody comes in and searches for something related to your business, that really Google and other search engines are giving their readership the most relevant content, so they're happy and they come back and use Google again and again and again. And that's really the whole basis of where SEO evolved from, is the search engines want people to be loyal to them, and the only way to really do that long term is to provide content that is highly relevant and engaging. So that's why they look for all those factors when they scan your website. So that's why content engagement is incredibly important. You've got to create content that is very high engaging, entertaining, relevant, current, and the search engines recognize all that and rank on that basis appropriately. So make sure that when you're creating content that it is optimized, and it isn't like you don't have 10 pages worth of text and the text is all cramped and hard to read and stuff like that. That all feeds into content engagement. Lighten it up a bit, spread it out, make it legible, put in nice imagery, optimize the imagery, put in video, optimize the videos. All of that stuff feeds in not only to content engagement, but SEO itself. Okay, and you've also got to factor in mobile compatibility, of course. I just put that in as April 16. It wasn't April 16, it was April 15, I believe. that Google released their algorithm for mobile. And basically what it said was, that wasn't in place before, was basically that any websites that were not mobile optimized and didn't abide by Google's rules for mobile friendliness, as they call it, would then get penalized within the search engine results. So what we noticed was we had new clients come on board April, May 2015 that were going nuts over the fact that their organic traffic had dropped by, in some cases, 80%. So they wanted that we needed to go in to their website and see what had gone on, and of course it was right at that time. So we were able to say it's your mobile compatibility. Let's optimize the mobile compatibility of your website. And then sure enough, within 3, 4, 5 months, their organic rankings kept, kind of crept back up, but they lost a lot of ground and a lot of traction because their mobile version of their website was not optimized and it wasn't abiding by Google's rules. So that's incredibly important in this day and age if you want to be involved with mobile search. And then the next thing that's important for SEO is traffic. Once you've done all the optimization and refining your website, actually getting people to view the content and engage with the content creates a little bit of a snowball effect with regards to rankings. Because again, it goes back to what I said a short moment ago, Google recognizes when people are on your website and are engaging with the content on your website. And basically what that does is it builds up what I always call a credit rating with Google. It's the same type of thing as building up a credit rating with the credit bureaus. Is when Google sees that a lot of people are on your website trusting your content, it builds their trust. And then they know that they can trust you to represent them when they send people to your website. So traffic is an incredibly important element of that, because you optimize your website and your content, but without traffic, Google and other search engines cannot recognize whether your content is really doing what it should and is really engaging people. So that's important as well. Okay, so what is beyond your control? One thing you guys cannot change, and we can't change, nobody can change, is Google and the other search engines. They create the rules, so to speak. So they're a law unto themselves, and you can't expect to be able to control any of that. So don't stress about that. All you have to do is keep on top of what the latest rules are, things like mobile compatibility, and make sure that your websites attend to those factors. Because the other thing is, there's not much else that is beyond your control. You can optimize your website and make sure it's really like a fine well-oiled machine, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So everything else is within your control. The search engines are not. Okay, so let's get started into this thing. I'm going to do a couple of practical sort of exercises, and we'll kind of delve into screenshot. I'll take you through the systems we're going to use to optimize your website. So the most important thing to start with is, where is your website currently? How is your website doing? So we've got to get that baseline for this thing first. And then once we have that baseline, we can work to optimize your website and really plow through the checklist that the software I'm about to show you offers up. When you run your website through this scanning system, they give you this fantastic checklist that you can just work through to optimize your website. And then once you've optimized it, what you can do is you can monitor the results and revisit those results each month or two. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I want to do is get the baseline for your website. So this is a system I use called WooRank, WooRank.com. If you go over to WooRank.com now, or when you're ready to do the scan, you'll be able to run your website through their system, and they're going to give you all the key elements and a rating for your website out of 100, so that you can get that baseline. So without further ado, let's head over to WooRank. Hey guys, so in this portion of the video, what I want to do is just take you through how to scan your website to get that baseline for both performance as well as search engine optimization. And now the great thing about this tool that I'm going to recommend to you is that, first of all, you can use it for free the first time you scan your website, and then you can also just sign up for a free trial if you want to just do a follow-up scan once everything's been attended to. The other thing is they give you out this really nice printout of basically a checklist by which you can go through your website and attend to the different elements which factor into search engine optimization, from load speed to mobile compatibility to social integration to content optimization and so on. So what I want you to do first of all is just go over to woorank.com. When the website comes up like this, the very first time you land on it, you won't have this button here which says start a free trial. You'll have a little URL bar where you can enter in your website and run your first scan. Okay, so this is just the WooRank homepage. So from that, when you run your scan, basically it's going to look a little bit like this. So do you know what I'm going to do is a little bit of a test. I'm going to go into Google, find an SEO company, because you would think that they would be optimized, and we'll scan their website and see how they do. So best SEO companies, I don't know, USA. You can pick anywhere or not. So here we go. VictoriousSEO.com ranked number 1 in the USA according to them. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to scan through their website. We'll go pick up the URL up here, and then we're going to go back. Oh wow, I've seen that picture before in a stock theme. Anyway, we're going to go back here, enter the URL, and just click the review button on WooRank. Now we'll just see what happens when I do this. It'll take a little minute to go through the process. You see it brings up these little scales, elements that the website has passed, elements they can improve, and errors. And obviously in that order you're going to deal with things that are more or less important. So you'll see this little circle kind of times up. It's times out. It's a scale of 1 to 100. So you'll get a rating on your website along with the first kind of scan you do first of all. So you'll be able to tell, for instance, this company, Victorious SEO, the best SEO company in the world, in the USA, has a rating of 53.8. Now, as we scroll down, you can download this as a PDF or download it as slides. You may need a subscription to do so. It may not allow that necessarily with the first free scan, but what you'll get is basically just this information in a PDF where you can download it and send it to a programmer, or if you're a programmer, you can work through it as a checklist. So basically it goes through a number of protocols for SEO, title, meta, how your website appears in Google, headings. You'll see anything that is marked with a red is an error. So we'll just scroll down. This is sort of an okay, or things you can improve upon. Alt attributes for images, number of pages you've got on the website, broken links, etc., robots text. A lot of this stuff they've ticked off. And don't be fooled by the score as well. I want to say 53.8 isn't necessarily a terrible score. I think that the maximum we've been able to get a website up to is about 90. But that incorporates a lot of things that you're just not going to be able to do on every website. So mobile friendliness, again, it'll scan your website, make sure it's mobile friendly. I would suggest that you also run it through Google's own mobile friendly test, which I'll show you in a second. So it says, there's things to improve here. Mobile speed isn't great, so you can improve that. That's an error. You can improve the mobile viewport and touchscreen readiness, basically by making links or buttons larger in mobile view. That's normally the protocol there. They should really have a custom 404, which is just basically a page not found warning. So you can do that. A lot of this stuff. Speed tips, again, that kind of speaks to the performance of the website. They should be improving on that. They should really have an SSL. One thing to bear in mind with SSL is that basically an SSL is a certificate, a secure sockets layer certificate, and that says to Google and other search engines and to visitors when you come onto a website that the website is secure. Now there are some new regulations coming through within Google, particularly where they're going to start marking websites as potentially not secure if they don't have an SSL. So it used to be that if you were selling items on your website and you were accepting credit card details on the website itself, that you would need an SSL to prove that you were secure and also protect against hackers and things like that trying to mine for information. The SSL just really it kind of adds another layer to the security and the encryption upon your website. So what I'm going to show you, for instance, if we go to apple.com, you should see in the URL bar there'll likely be a little padlock that appears. No, let's see. If we go into another browser, Safari's always a bit of a problem. There you go, on the WooRank website, you see this little green padlock? That means it's secure, it's got an SSL certificate, it's been verified, and so on. So ultimately that plays into your SEO rating. So it's always a benefit, and in fact it's going to be of more benefit moving forward if you have an SSL in place. That can be added into your hosting package. It normally costs around $60 a year, so it's not a huge cost, but for your business and in the future, especially when it's represented on Google and so on, it will come in handy. Backlinks are links that come from other websites into your website. So it's got a bad score here. The backlinks counter isn't great, and there's 51 domains referring backlinks over to the website. It doesn't have a Facebook page. Again, this is all about kind of social platform integration. It's worth going through all these. Doesn't have a Google Plus page. We generally recommend that you would go and do set up a Google profile, link it to your business, so that Google recognizes and then trusts your business a lot more. Traffic estimations are low. It seems that this actual company is based in India potentially. Either that or most of the traffic is from India. So basically that is the report, the checklist that you want to get when you go onto WooRank, and it'll tell you basically how good your website is, the areas that you need to improve upon, and the big ones that you need to really attend to, the errors. That score offers, if nothing else, a great baseline from which to start. So you can take that score, go work through the checklist either on your own or with a programmer. It shouldn't really cost an awful lot. For instance, if you have to just optimize the mobile speed on your website, it's not going to be the most massive task that a programmer undertakes. To create a custom 404 page is very, very simple. It's not going to be a big outlay or expense. So all those things generally can just be ticked off as you go, and then what you can do is you can come back to WooRank, rescan the website in say a month's time, and you'll get a brand new up-to-date reading. So you're able to then see, hopefully you've improved the score, your errors are less, you've got less things to improve upon, and more things are passed. And at least then you know that at a base level, a foundational level, you've done all you can to optimize your website and get it ready for all the other components of SEO, for instance, the content and so on. Okay, so that's the first tool. The first thing you should do it right now. If you've got your website URL, go over to WooRank, run the first scan, download if you can the report. If not, then just take a note or some screenshots of the areas that need improved upon the website, and then get to work on improving them. In the next kind of functional video, I'm going to show you the other element of this process, which is the Google Friendly mobile test. Okay, so hopefully that was of help, guys. Let me know how you get on with WooRank. If you have any problems, you can do this for free and then sign up for a free trial for your secondary report. Once you do that initial free scan though, you'll be locked out of doing any more free scans unless you sign up for the free trial. So make sure you try and do that. Even after that, if you want to just be improving your SEO over and over, you can sign up to a monthly plan with WooRank. It's $49.99 for the base plan. That's all you would ever need, unless you're a company that is like an online marketing company or a big agency or something like that. So hopefully that was of help, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next section of the video. Okay, guys, so that was WooRank. Hopefully that was of help, and you can see the checklist and how that can become really useful for you guys to optimize basically everything within your website moving forward. The other thing you want to do, which I've said earlier in the video, is ensure that your website is mobile friendly. There's an element to the WooRank scan, which you'll have seen, which covers the mobile viewport and making sure your website is mobile friendly. I wouldn't necessarily trust that 100% because Google have their own test for that. So let's go over to the Google mobile friendly test right now. Put your website in. I'm going to show you a couple of examples here, just like I did with WooRank, and we'll see whether what Google shows when your website is mobile friendly, as they call it, and what they show when your website isn't mobile friendly, and how you can use those things to ensure that your website really abides by Google's rules, because ultimately that's the most important thing, is to make sure that you're kind of ticking the boxes when it comes to the search engines. So let's head over to Google Mobile Friendly Test now, and I'll show you how that all works. Hey guys, so in the last portion of the kind of functional element of getting your baseline for how well optimized your website is, I took you to WooRank and showed you how to scan that to get a baseline, basically a score out of 100 that you can work from to improve, as well as the all-important checklist that they spit out for you within their report. Now what I want to do is factor in one of the most important elements of optimization in the recent past, which has been your mobile friendliness of the website. Google introduced in April 2016 a new rule which basically said if your website is not mobile optimized, they will penalize you in mobile search. So what happened was, and we noticed this with clients who came to us panicking about their search because their organic traffic had suddenly dropped. And now, I must stress, it was nothing to do with us. They were clients that we hadn't worked with before, but they came to us and said, look, our organic traffic is down by 50% or 100% in some instances, or almost anyway. And they came to us and said, look, what's this about? So we went in and we checked, and of course, it was around that time. It was within a month of the Google mobile friendly kind of algorithm change, and that's what did it. That kind of really hit a lot of websites hard. So it's really important that your website is mobile optimized to the max, just not even from an SEO perspective, but from an accessibility perspective. When people access your website and engage with it, those elements, those behaviors are very, very important to SEO. So you got to make sure it's mobile optimized. So here's what I want to do. If you go into Google and just go mobile friendly test, it'll bring up Google's mobile friendly test. So click into this, and again, all you need is the URL of your website. Just copy it in here. We'll just use the one that we used in the last video for example's sake, and run the test. Now that website looked pretty modern, likely to be fully mobile optimized. I'll show you what happens next if the website isn't mobile optimized, assuming that this one is. So Google will scan your entire website and do much the same thing that WooRank does in terms of look at all the basic protocols: mobile friendliness, mobile viewport, buttons, links on screen, the size of text and imagery, and so on. And then they'll score it themselves and let you know if basically you pass all their rules or their tests. So here we are, pretty near the end of this one. We'll just let it kind of factor in all the information and give us a rating here. Come on. Okay, so page is mobile friendly. So you'll see here on the right of the screen, it shows you the website and how it looks. They confirm with a big green page is mobile friendly. That's all good. They give you warnings. So here's one blocked resource which you can look at. Let me just find a non-mobile friendly website, and you can see how it is. Let me see. Okay, this is a pretty terrible website. So let's see, we'll copy this URL over into the Google Search Console, paste it in, run the scan. This will likely be a faster scan. It looks like a pretty small old site. And normally, quite often what people will do is they'll discern whether the website is mobile friendly themselves by changing the browser size. So normally we build websites which are called responsive. They respond to the size of the browser screen and the device that it's being viewed on. So you can see here, as we move this, the content gets cut out, which is terrible for mobile friendliness and so on. So that's not what you want. You can see that with any website. Goodness, this has taken a while. But that's one of the things you can initially, from an aesthetic standpoint, you can change the mobile viewport or the browser viewport by doing this and just seeing what your website looks like. But that doesn't always mean that it will pass Google's mobile friendly test. So you got to just be aware of that. Okay, so as we anticipated, this comes out saying that the page is not mobile friendly. So there's a big red banner here. This is what it looks like on mobile, and it basically gives you a list of elements which you need to look at. Now, a lot of these are similar to what WooRank will give you, but it's really important that you do both scans, because sometimes WooRank will not get the mobile friendly viewport quite right, whereas Google, who you need to be paying attention to, will generally scan it and run it through their algorithm and make sure that it either adheres to their rules and regulations, or it'll let you know if it doesn't, so you know exactly what to do. And that's why I would suggest you do both the WooRank method and also the Google mobile friendly test, because ultimately Google rules everything with regards to search engine generally. So you've got to try and pay attention to what's happening, their latest algorithms, all this type of stuff like mobile friendliness, and then optimize your website accordingly. Okay, so look, hopefully that element was of help. That's the Google mobile friendly test. So once you've done the WooRank, go into the Google mobile friendly test, and then we'll get on to other elements of SEO in the subsequent videos, content optimization, keyword research, and so on. So again, guys, let us know if you have any queries about this particular element of the video, and I'll go back to the tutorial now. So guys, that's the first kind of stage gone through now. We've got a baseline for the website. We know where your website maybe doesn't stack up and the different specific items you're going to need to deal with to really beef up the offering, make sure it is optimized from the ground up for SEO. And also we know that it's mobile compatible now or otherwise. So basically this just gives us a good baseline to work from. I always say to clients, you know, some of the greatest information gathering exercises that we do as consultants within our business are based upon getting those baselines. And I love doing that, not only for the client so they can see where they're at, but also it's great for us, because when we're, you know, for instance, if I'm in business for the long term and I want to build long-term relationships with clients. So when I go to a client and I show them exactly where they are now, and then we perform what we do and we optimize sites or build out a site or do whatever it is, traffic generation and so on, then we rerun those scans and we're able to show the client exactly where they started, what we did, and now where they are, and you can kind of see the upward trajectory from that. So it's great for us from a sales perspective. That's just a little insight into our business. But anyway, either way, you guys now have a baseline of your website, which is incredibly important. Also, what I would suggest, which I haven't mentioned in this video, is what you should be doing as well is getting analytics on your website. So it's different if you're just launching a website, which I assume a lot of you are. You won't have any analytics necessarily. But what I would suggest is that you get some form of analytics package built into your website. So either the best one to do is Google Analytics, and again, just because Google is this kind of standard, and also you can hook those analytics into other elements of your online marketing. So if you run an ad on Google or Facebook, you can look at the Google Analytics readout and see, you know, where the traffic is coming from into your website. And I'll show you in a separate video, but there's a whole load of other ways that you can really delve into the analytics of your website using Google Analytics. There are other simpler packages. For instance, there's Jetpack for WordPress that you can install within a couple of clicks as a plugin, but it is very basic in terms of the analytics that it gives you, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you really want to refine your entire online marketing approach moving forward. So Google Analytics is a good one. It's pretty easy to install on your website. If not, it only takes maybe 30 minutes, an hour max kind of charge if you want to get a consultant to do it for you. But I would suggest you get that in your website, because the baselines that we've been discussing are really to do with your website performance and the foundation of SEO. But you also want to be able to track the traffic on your website to compare those things, so that once you refine your website using the methods I'm showing you within this video, you can then go over to your analytics and see, well, we started out with 20 visitors through organic search, and now that we've refined our website and optimized a lot of the content and installed the SEO software and improved performance and upgraded the server and whatever else you might end up doing through the course of these videos, now our organic search, or people coming to our website through organic search, has gone up by 400% in 2 months. And therefore you can see the results in real time, how the actions you're taking within your website are impacting the bottom line ultimately in terms of traffic coming into the website. And then if you're optimizing the user experience and user engagement, and you've got all the right structures in place within the website to convert those visitors, then you can really track, how the traffic is generated, the behaviors of those people on your website, and then equate that to your bottom line. Have you had more inquiries, more sales online? You've sold more of your product through your website? All those kinds of things. So it's really important to get the baseline first, which we're doing here, and also get an analytics package in place so that you can really look at the statistics of your website moving forward, so you know that the behaviors you're engaging in, to improve your website, are actually resulting in improved performance, efficiencies, return on investment. Okay guys, so that is part 1 of the video summed up. I hope that was of help. In the next part of the video, what we're going to do is deal with the content of your website, the optimization, the keyword research first of all, and then how you go about optimizing your website from the back end. So looking at the content of your website, the important factors that feed into that, imagery, text, video, and so on, and then the software you need with which to optimize your site, and how you go about doing that in a more hands-on way. So I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully that was of help. Share out the video using the links below. Leave your comments and queries. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.